Okay guys, today we're going to talk about Progress 8 and we're going to just look at the positive sides about it. Progress 8 has some real positives about it and I just want to focus on those today. The first thing I just want to talk about is the ability to encompass a wide range of subjects into Progress 8, and this is really key. At the moment, schools really focus on obviously in maths and English, and that will still be the case, but also on things like science, geography, history, French. All of those EBacc subjects get the main focus and everything else kind of gets pushed to one side. Well, what Progress 8 does is it actually brings in these three other subjects that can have just as much of an impact on the student's Progress 8 score as the key subjects like your sciences, your geography, your history, your languages. And that's a massive change, because at the moment you would generally in the school have a lot of focus on the student that isn't getting a C in science. Whereas now you might have a student not getting a C in science, but also is only getting a pass in their vocational subject. And actually with the new Progress 8 measure, it becomes just as useful to that student for them to go from a pass in the vocational subject to a merit as it does for them to go from a D to a C in science. And that really is quite key, because it really just brings out the fact that every subject counts and every subject has an impact on that student. And I think that's a much better way of reflecting it than just like looking at 5A star to C. Something else that I just want to talk about is the fact that it's a value-added measure. Okay, so it's a value-added measure, and this means that the students we use their data at Key Stage 2, and it's very precise. So for instance, you would have like a 4.1 or a 4.2, which is kind of like mixed into your 4C, 4B, 4A, and from that 4.1, we then get an expected attainment 8 score. And this is done properly. This is done by basically taking an average of all the students that came in with a 4.1. So therefore, you have a target that is genuinely actually based on students who have done that before. And I think that's really key. Levels of progress doesn't involve any of that. It's expected 3 levels of progress. Doesn't do any of that. You say for a 2 pupil or a 5 pupil, 3 levels of progress, it doesn't mean anything, because it's dead easy for a level 5 pupil to do 3 levels and really difficult for a level 2 pupil. Whereas Progress 8 takes that into account. A pupil with a level 2 probably only needs to make about 2 levels of progress, and a pupil with a level 5 probably needs to make between 4 and 5 levels of progress. So therefore, it actually does it really precisely. A 4.1 will have a certain target, a 4.2 will have a certain target, and they will go up incrementally. And this basically just means that the students actually are being measured against pupils who are like them in that year group. And I think that's really key when you're coming to look at how Progress 8 actually works and why it is actually useful, is because it's based on actual data about that student. But the last thing I want to talk about is some schools should be quite worried about Progress 8, and some schools should be quite excited about Progress 8. And I'll give you the reasons why. You take a school at the moment that maybe is getting 25-30% A star to C, okay, because the pupil's coming at a lower level. They might be getting the best out of their students, which might be that they should be getting Ds, but they're still going to look terrible on the A star to C scale. However, you take like some top flying school where the students are all getting 100% A star to C, but actually they're not getting 100% A star and A, they're just getting 100% A star to C, so therefore a lot of the students are getting Cs and Bs who should be getting As and A stars. Their Progress 8 score is suddenly going to catastrophically drop, whereas the pupils where they should be getting Ds and they are getting Ds but they're not getting Cs is going to go up. And I think that's key. So there's going to be a massive switch around for some schools where they go from in this high-flying school that gets 100% A star to C to having maybe a negative Progress 8 score, and these schools where they're only getting 20% A star to C, and they go to having a positive Progress 8 score. And I think that's really key, and that will happen for some schools, and there'll be a lot of schools in between. But it's great because it is genuinely a value-added measure. It looks at how much value is a school adding to that student. And I think that is where it becomes much better than things like levels of progress or 5A star to C.